My beloved child. Pause your scrolling. Breathe. Because this moment did not drift into you by accident. Something unseen has been waiting for you. Not loudly, not urgently, but faithfully. You opened this because, somewhere deep inside, you felt a quiet pull. A whisper that said, listen. A nudge that said, stay. I am with you now. And I ask for only a few minutes of your presence, because what has been pending, what has been delayed, what you thought heaven might have forgotten, has been seen. You have been carrying questions in silence, smiling on the outside, holding yourself together while something inside you kept asking, when will it be my turn? You tried to be patient. You tried to be strong. You told yourself not to expect too much. And yet, in the quiet hours, your heart still hoped. I know. I saw the nights when sleep came late, the moments when you replayed old conversations, the times you wondered if you misunderstood the signs, if you waited for something that was never meant to arrive. You are not foolish for hoping. You are not weak for longing. And you are certainly not forgotten. There was a pause for a reason, not as punishment, not as denial, but as preparation. What you asked for could not meet you where you were before. It required a version of you that was steadier, softer, wiser. It required space to clear, noise to fall away, old attachments to loosen their grip. You may not have realized it at the time, but while you thought nothing was happening, everything was aligning. There were conversations behind the veil. There were protections you never noticed. There were redirections that saved you from paths that looked right, but would have broken you later. And now, something has shifted, not with thunder, not with spectacle, but with certainty. Your pending miracle has been acknowledged, not as a sudden reward, but as a natural next step. If you feel a strange calm lately, if your tears have changed texture, if your heart feels tired but lighter at the same time, that is not coincidence. That is readiness. You are no longer asking from desperation. You are no longer clinging. You are no longer chasing signs in panic. You are standing differently now, breathing differently, trusting differently. This is important, so stay with me for a moment longer. Do not skip this part. What is coming is not meant to shock you. It is meant to settle into you gently, like news that makes you exhale instead of gasp. You will recognize it not by excitement alone, but by peace. It may arrive through words, through a message, through an unexpected confirmation, through something that quietly says, yes, this is it. And when it does, you will realize why the waiting had to take the shape it did. There were versions of the outcome that would have come too early. They would have thrilled you briefly and then drained you. What is unfolding now will not rush you. It will not confuse you. It will not ask you to betray yourself. It will meet you where you are and grow with you. I know you feared that time was running out, that you missed your window, that others moved ahead while you stood still. But time has been working with you, not against you. Nothing meant for you has passed you by. Nothing approved for you has been reassigned. Nothing sacred has been cancelled. It was simply waiting for the moment when you could receive it without fear. There is great news on the horizon, but it will not come screaming for attention. It will come like reassurance, like relief, like a quiet yes after a long season of not yet. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to prove yourself again. You do not need to beg. Your only task now is to remain open without tension, trust without gripping, hope without pressure. Let go of how you imagined it had to arrive. The form may surprise you, but the feeling will not. It will feel familiar, like something your soul has already rehearsed. If doubt rises, do not fight it. Just breathe. If impatience knocks, do not scold yourself. Just soften. Everything is moving, even when it looks still. And before this day fully closes, you may notice a subtle shift, a signal that something has turned in your favor. Not because you forced it, not because you were perfect, but because you stayed gentle, stayed believing, even when belief felt thin, stayed open, even when disappointment tried to harden you. This message found you because you were ready to hear it, not earlier, not later, exactly now. Carry this calm with you. Let it wrap around your thoughts. Let it quiet the questions. You are seen. You are supported. And what has been approved will meet you at the right door, at the right moment, in a way that brings peace instead of fear. Remain here for a breath longer. Let this settle. You are not waiting anymore. You are arriving. My beloved child. You are still here. That matters more than you know. Many would have left when the silence stretched. Many would have hardened their hearts, or filled the quiet with noise, or convinced themselves that hope was foolish. But you stayed, even when belief felt thin as breath on glass. Even when answers did not arrive on schedule. That is why I speak to you now. There is a reason this message continues to unfold slowly. What is meant for you cannot be rushed, because it is not merely an event. It is a transition. You have been crossing an invisible line, from surviving, to receiving, from asking, to allowing. You once thought your miracle would arrive as something dramatic, something that would announce itself loudly and prove everything all at once. But heaven often moves differently. What has been approved does not come to impress others. It comes to steady you. You will notice it first in your inner world. A calm replacing the urgency, a knowing replacing the fear, a quiet confidence rising where anxiety once lived. This is not you giving up. This is you aligning. There were doors you wanted desperately before. If they had opened then, you would have walked through them still carrying wounds, still seeking validation, still trying to be chosen. Those doors stayed closed out of mercy. Now, you no longer need to shrink to be accepted. You no longer need to explain your worth. You no longer need to chase what is unsure. You are meeting what is stable. I want you to understand something gently and clearly. Your miracle was never blocked. It was buffered, shielded from impatience, protected from interference, kept safe until your hands could hold it without trembling. You may soon hear news that feels simple on the surface. Others might not recognize its weight, but you will, because it answers a prayer you stopped saying out loud, because it resolves a tension you learned to live with quietly, because it confirms that your trust was not misplaced. You were never asking for too much. You were only asking too early. Now the timing has softened. The resistance has eased. The path has cleared. I stand beside you not as urgency, but as assurance. You do not need to watch the clock. You do not need to reread signs. You do not need to test the universe. Rest your thoughts. Let your shoulders drop. When the moment comes, and it will feel natural. Not forced. Not chaotic. Not frightening. It will feel like recognition. Like something finally saying, I see you. You're ready. Trust this calm you feel right now. It is not emptiness. It is space being made. Space for clarity. Space for good news. Space for what has already said yes to you. I remain with you in this stillness. And as you move forward from this moment, carry one truth gently in your heart. Nothing meant for you arrives late. It arrives whole. My beloved child. Feel how the quiet has changed. Earlier, silence felt heavy. Now it feels spacious. That difference matters. You are no longer standing at the door, knocking with tired hands. You are standing inside the threshold, learning how to breathe in a new room. This season is subtle. Nothing flashy. Nothing that demands you announce it to the world. And yet, everything inside you is rearranging itself gently. You have begun to trust yourself again. Not loudly, not perfectly, but honestly. You are listening more carefully to what drains you. You are noticing what no longer fits. You are no longer forcing yourself to stay where your spirit feels small. That is growth you did not plan. That is wisdom earned quietly. What is approaching you now responds to this version of you, not the one who begged, not the one who waited in fear, but the one who learned how to stand without guarantees. There was a time you would have mistaken delay for rejection. You would have blamed yourself, replayed your choices, wondered what you did wrong. But notice this, you no longer ask that question the same way. You understand now that some answers require maturity, not effort. You understand now that timing is not punishment, it is placement. The message you will receive, the shift you will notice, the clarity that will soon surface, will not feel like luck. It will feel earned, not through struggle, but through patience. I know part of you is still cautious, still guarding your heart just a little. That is all right. You are not asked to leap blindly, only to remain open. Do not rush to interpret every sign. Do not search for proof in every moment. What is real will not demand anxiety to be believed. It will arrive steady, consistent, clear. And when it does, you may feel an urge to look back at all the moments you almost lost hope. You may realize how close you came to leaving the path right before the bend. Be gentle with that version of yourself. They carried you as far as they could. Now you walk lighter. The peace you feel is not the end of the story. It is the foundation. From this calm, better choices grow. Healthier connections form. Clearer opportunities appear. You are not being rushed anymore. You are being guided. So tonight, or tomorrow, or in a moment that feels ordinary, you may notice something align without effort. And you will smile, not wide, not loud, but deep, because you will know. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was missed. Nothing was denied. You were simply becoming ready. Remain steady. Remain kind to yourself. Remain present. I am still with you, and what has turned in your favor will continue unfolding one calm step at a time. My beloved child. There is a gentleness settling over you now, and it is not weakness. It is discernment. You are beginning to sense what deserves your energy and what no longer needs an explanation. You are learning that not every silence must be filled, and not every delay must be questioned. This is the quiet strength that comes just before clarity. You once believed answers would arrive only when everything made sense. But peace does not wait for understanding. Peace arrives first, and understanding follows behind it, like a soft echo. What is unfolding around you now is responding to your inner shift. Life listens more closely when you stop shouting at it with fear. Notice how your reactions are slower, how your thoughts no longer spiral as easily, how you can sit with uncertainty without it swallowing you whole. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. The news you are moving toward will meet you in this steadiness. It will not test your nerves. It will not demand urgency. It will confirm what your spirit already sensed before your mind caught up. You may wonder why it feels almost ordinary, why the anticipation has softened instead of intensified. This is how blessings meant to stay arrive. They do not shake the ground. They settle into it. You are not being asked to perform joy. You are being invited to live it quietly. There will be a moment, small, almost forgettable, when something clicks. A sentence lands differently. A decision feels obvious. A door opens without resistance. And you will realize that the miracle was not only the outcome, but the way you arrived here without losing yourself. If impatience whispers again, let it pass like weather. You do not need to chase the sky. Everything moving toward you already knows your name. You are not behind. You are not catching up. You are exactly where the next step can find you. Rest in that. Carry this calm forward. Let it guide your words, your choices, your expectations. What is meant for you is not fragile. It does not require force. It will meet you as you are now, steady, open, and ready to receive. Stay here for one more breath. Let gratitude rise quietly, even before you see the full picture. You are safe in this unfolding, and the path ahead is kinder than you fear, my beloved child. Now listen to what your heart has stopped arguing with. There was a time you wrestled with the unknown. You wanted certainty before surrender. You wanted proof before peace. But something within you has softened its grip. You are no longer demanding answers from the dark. You are allowing the light to arrive on its own terms. This is sacred ground. What is nearing you now does not come to fix you. You were never broken. It comes to join you, to walk beside the version of you who finally learned how to wait without despair. You may notice memories rising lately. Old scenes, old faces, old versions of yourself knocking gently at your awareness. They are not here to pull you backward. They are here to be released. You are closing chapters without anger, without drama, without needing closure from anyone else. That is freedom. And freedom is the language your miracle understands. There were lessons you thought would leave scars forever. But look closely. They left wisdom instead. You can feel it now. A quiet authority in your choices. A steadiness in your voice. A calm refusal to settle for what costs you your peace. This is why things can move now. What once would have overwhelmed you will now feel manageable. What once confused you will now feel clear. What once frightened you will now feel familiar. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into coherence. I know part of you still scans the horizon, wondering when the sign will appear, when the message will come, when the shift will become undeniable. But understand this gently. Clarity often arrives after you stop searching for it. Trust the rhythm you are in. Trust the calm that no longer needs to explain itself. Trust the sense of enough settling into your bones. You are not missing anything. Nothing is slipping through your fingers. What belongs to you moves toward you without resistance. And when the confirmation comes, whether through words, events, or inner knowing, it will not shock your system. It will feel like relief, like recognition, like a deep yes echoing softly inside you. Until then, live lightly. Speak gently to yourself. Make room for joy without suspicion. You are not being tested anymore. You are being trusted. Stay present. Stay open. Stay kind to yourself most of all. This unfolding is safe, and you are ready for what comes next, my beloved child. There is a quiet courage blooming in you now, and it does not ask for applause. It shows itself in the way you no longer chase reassurance, in the way you pause before reacting, in the way you let moments pass without trying to control their meaning. This is not indifference. This is trust learning how to stand on its own. You once feared that letting go meant losing what you loved, but you are discovering something gentler, that what is real does not vanish when you loosen your grip. It breathes easier. It comes closer. The space you have made inside yourself is not emptiness. It is invitation. You may feel it when you wake up, a sense that the day is not against you. You may feel it in small decisions that no longer drain you. You may feel it in the way your body rests more deeply when night arrives. This is alignment settling into muscle and bone. What you are approaching will meet you without resistance because you are no longer resisting yourself. There was a time you would have questioned your worth the moment something went quiet. You would have filled the silence with self-blame, or hurried to prove your value again. You do not do that now. You understand, at last, that silence can be a holding space, not a rejection. That pause can be permission. The news that finds you, the shift that becomes clear, will not arrive as urgency. It will arrive as confirmation, as if life gently nods and says, yes, this direction, and you will not need to ask twice. You are learning to move from intuition instead of anxiety, from steadiness instead of fear of loss. This is why the path ahead feels calmer, not because nothing matters, but because what truly matters no longer needs to shout. If old doubts try to return, do not argue with them. Smile softly. They belong to a chapter that has already taught you what it could. You are walking forward now with a lighter heart and clearer eyes. Everything you need for the next step is already within reach. Nothing essential is missing. Nothing sacred is delayed beyond its season. Remain in this gentleness. Let it guide your pace. Let it shape your expectations. You are not waiting to be chosen anymore. You are choosing peace. And from that choice, everything else unfolds naturally. My beloved child, there is a stillness ahead of you that is not empty. It is listening. You are stepping into a space where life no longer needs to convince you, where answers do not arrive as arguments, but as ease. You have learned to hear the quiet yes beneath the noise of maybe. You have learned to feel the gentle pull that does not drag, that does not rush, that simply invites. This is maturity of the soul. You once measured progress by signs and symbols. Now you measure it by peace, by how your breath returns to you, by how your heart rests without bracing. And this is why what approaches you now will fit. It will not ask you to abandon yourself. It will not require you to explain away your intuition. It will not demand urgency as proof of importance. It will come with room to breathe. You may notice that your prayers have changed. They are fewer words now, more listening, more trust. This is not surrendering your hope. This is refining it. The approval you sensed was never about speed. It was about readiness, about alignment, about becoming someone who could receive without fear of losing it. And you have become that. When the moment arrives, and it will, it may feel surprisingly gentle. Like a door that was never locked, only waiting for you to stop pushing. You will step through without force, without doubt, without looking back to see who noticed. Because you will know. Until then, walk kindly with yourself. Speak softly to your thoughts. Let your days unfold without pressure. Nothing essential requires your anxiety. Nothing true needs your worry to survive. You are held in this process, guided in ways you do not have to understand, supported in moments you will never see. Remain open. Remain calm. Remain present. The path ahead recognizes you, and it meets you with the same gentleness you have finally learned to offer yourself. My beloved child, let us go a little deeper now, where words grow softer and truth speaks without effort. You are beginning to notice that you no longer rush to fill space. You allow moments to breathe. You allow feelings to rise and pass without naming them enemies. This is not something you learned from books. It was taught to you by waiting, by disappointment, by staying open when it would have been easier to close your heart and move on. That is why what comes next will feel earned in a quiet way. There is a dignity about you now, not pride, not hardness, but self-respect. You no longer beg life to choose you. You meet life eye to eye. And life responds. You may sense a subtle rearranging around you, plans shifting without effort, conversations aligning naturally, opportunities appearing without pressure. This is not chance. This is flow returning. The miracle you thought would arrive as a single moment is revealing itself as a sequence. Small confirmations, gentle openings. A growing sense of, yes, that does not fade after the excitement passes. You are learning that real blessings do not spike your emotions. They steady them. You are learning that what lasts does not need to be chased. If you ever feel the urge to hurry again, pause. Place a hand on your chest. Feel how calm lives there now. That calm is your compass. It will guide you toward what is honest, what is sustainable, what is meant to walk with you, not exhaust you. Soon, you will look back at this season and realize something important. The waiting did not delay your life. It refined it. You did not lose time. You gained clarity. You did not miss out. You grew into alignment. And when the news fully settles, when the shift becomes undeniable, you will not feel the need to announce it loudly. You will carry it quietly, like a secret between you and heaven. Remain patient with the unfolding. Remain gentle with yourself. Remain present. You are not standing on the edge anymore. You are walking forward, step by steady step, into what has already said yes to you. My beloved child. Notice how your heart no longer tightens when the future is mentioned. There was a time the unknown felt like a threat, a vast silence where fears echoed louder than faith. But now, the unknown feels more like a horizon, wide, calm, and open. This change did not happen suddenly. It was shaped by every moment you chose to remain kind to yourself, by every tear you wiped away quietly, by every time you trusted the process even while doubting yourself. You are standing on steadier ground now. What unfolds next does not require you to abandon who you are. It will not pull you away from your center. It will invite you deeper into it. You may find yourself responding differently to life, less reactive, more observant, choosing peace not because you are tired, but because you are wise. This wisdom is your protection. The miracle you have been moving toward will recognize this version of you. It will feel like a natural extension of the calm you carry, not a disruption of it. You may even smile at how gently it arrives, how it does not force celebration, how it simply fits. And in that moment, you will understand something quietly profound. You were never waiting for permission. You were growing into readiness. Let that truth settle without urgency. Let it anchor you. You are not late. You are not early. You are precisely where you need to be for what comes next to meet you without resistance. Carry this awareness forward. Let it guide how you speak, how you choose, how you rest. The path ahead does not require vigilance. It requires presence. And you are present now, fully, gently, honestly. That is enough.